how to incorporate fitness into your fantasy stories. Hi there, my name is Cameron and I'm a fantasy author. Today I'm just getting back to the gym, and while I was there, I was thinking about the fact that fitness is a bit of a concept within fantasy worlds, and not one that we give a lot of credence to. After all, we like to think of our characters as primal. They exist in worlds where there isn't much for excess. And on the romantasy element of it, we like to think that our characters look pretty good too. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't consider physical fitness when we're talking about our characters. If your character is not, let's say, aligned for combat, they may not be able to swing a sword as deftly as someone who's spent time doing so. Such is the case for different races and beings and creatures of all sizes and shapes. In the great fantasy story, My Story, which you can find using the link in bio, there's a scene early on in which the main character, Torn, struggles to lift a warhammer while he's in combat. And Torn's a pretty athletic guy, but he's not a soldier. Compared to someone who stands 1.5 feet over him, he struggles to even lift something that could be used to defend himself. The result has pretty disastrous consequences. But it just goes to prove a point that not all of our characters can do all of these different things. Cloud and his Buster Sword don't really exist in the grand scheme of what fantasy has to offer. Well, unless you're literally talking Final Fantasy, but that's beside the point. Then again, it is your fantasy world. If you choose to do things where characters are able to lift or do things that are out of the ordinary, be sure to consider how that's possible. And yes, you can just use the blanket magic as a way to do that. But say you're telling a sci-fi story. Perhaps your characters have an exoskeleton on that allows them to run faster and lift heavier objects. Or maybe they live in a cyberpunk-esque world where cyberware is the standard. You could go the route of injections and give a character something that they shouldn't have in the first place. It could be unnatural. Or, just as well, maybe their lack of strength and stamina and speed is all part of their character development. After all, Frodo and Sam weren't exactly these hunks to be crossing Middle-earth. And oftentimes, the most relatable characters are the ones that do struggle with this. The ones that we resonate with aren't the strongest, they're not the fastest, and maybe they aren't the most quick-witted. Sure, that can be part of their journey, and that's what makes them all the more relatable. Just as well, physical fitness or the lack thereof can be a defining trait of the villains of the story. I think of Baron Harkonnen, for example. So grotesquely obese that he literally needs a machine to help him float around. Or, if you know from your PS2 era, we're talking about, say, Crew from Jak 2. Then again, mass can be a lovable trait. One of the most recent examples I can think of this would be Eskia in Expedition 33. So yes, fitness does matter. And not because it's a critique on body positivity, but because it can help develop character traits and the narrative overall. So when you're writing your narrative, consider how fitness impacts your characters. And just as well, maybe it can help inspire your own fitness journey.